One night, in the mainstream Marvel Universe, Mysterio breaks into the Empire State University to steal the Tablet of Order and Chaos, the most powerful of the mystic artifacts in the world. Things don't go as planned, however, as Spider-Man shows up and engages the Master of Illusion.
Their illusions are nifty, but if you ask me, they could use a little more kick.
Breaking the tablet in the process.
Whoa, what the heck was that?
Mysterio escapes with a fragment of the tablet, leaving Spidey behind. As Spidey wonders what's going on, Madam Web suddenly appears in hologram form and explains that the fragments of the tablet have scattered across their own dimension alongside 3 others. The Marvel Noir universe set in the 1930s, the Ultimate Marvel universe set in the alternate 2000s, and Marvel 2099 set in the distant future, each of them having their own unique Spider-Man. Madam Web explains that she has contacted the Spider-Men of the other 3 dimensions and explained their peril, and that they will do their best to retrieve the fragments. With that, the Amazing Spider-Man swings away in search of the tablet fragments. This is the story of Spider-Man, Shattered Dimensions. As always, beware of spoilers and enjoy the story. Madam Web then starts teaching the Spider-Men how to use their abilities to get 4 of the tablet's fragments. She also gives them new powers, such as giving Noir Spider-Man web-swinging powers and rebonding Ultimate Spider-Man with the Venom symbiote to give him a power boost. After each of them easily get the first quarter of the tablet, Madam Web warns them that the tablet pieces can grant incredible powers and must not be allowed to fall into the wrong hands. Meanwhile, Mysterio is sulking about how useless his fragment is, only to grab it and gain real magical powers to his surprise.
Mysterio is now the master of real magic.
The Amazing Spidey starts searching for a fragment with his spider sense and finds a piece in a hallway filled with booby traps.
Only mean one thing. It's trapped! Gotcha!
He easily evades them and grabs the fragment, only to be tranquilized by Kraven the Hunter and taken to a forest. Kraven uses the tablet to gain super speed, but Spidey ultimately manages to defeat him and retrieve the fragment. In the Noir universe, Noir Spidey discovers that a fragment is being delivered to Norman Osborn by Hammerhead and his thugs.
Oh, you're gonna lose your cool, all right.
It's him! It's Spider-Man!
After hitching a ride, Spider-Man attracts Hammerhead's attention and declares war on him. Hammerhead is forced to flee, and he uses the fragment to fuse his guns with his arms, but Spidey still beats him and manages to take the fragment. In the future reality, Spider-Man 2099 is still getting used to the spider sense. He is suddenly attacked by a mysterious being calling himself the Hobgoblin, and reveals his fragment, planning to use it to tear the world apart and drop Spidey from a roof. Spider-Man manages to survive the fall and chases after him, ultimately defeating him in combat. Meanwhile, Ultimate Spidey goes out of the city to look for any fragments while getting used to the symbiote suit. He then discovers Electro, who had used the fragment to amplify his electricity powers and attacks a nearby dam. Electro gains more power and becomes a giant being of pure energy, but Spidey tricks him into damaging the dam and defeats him before taking the fragment.
The water! It's taking me apart!
You seem shocked.
Back at the mainstream universe, Mysterio once again robs the Empire State University with his new powers. However, after discovering the Spider-Men delivering the next pieces of the tablet to Madam Web, he decides to leave, wanting the power for himself. Spidey then finds his next fragment in an abandoned quarry, but before he can grab it, a gigantic hand made of sand buries him into the ground. After he gets out, he discovers his harasser is none other than Sandman, who simply says that he wants to play a game and takes the fragment, granting him sandstorm powers. Spidey uses water barrels to weaken and defeat him and recovers the fragment with relative ease. More Spidey then searches for the next fragment and targets Vulture.
I'll always call him the bastard who killed my uncle. And not just killed.
After a hard fight, more Spider-Man finally defeats him and takes the fragment, saying that Osborn will be next. Meanwhile, in the 2099 universe, 2 officers head to a building to retrieve the fragment, only to be attacked by Scorpion of the future.
What is that thing?
Seeing the situation, Spidey tries to get his half-brother to give up, saying the fragment is dangerous, but the latter refuses. Spidey defeats him by trapping him under debris, but despite getting back the fragment, Spidey feels bad about his half-brother becoming a monster. Without any leads, Ultimate Spidey decides to watch some TV and discovers that Deadpool has made a reality TV show named Pain Factor, the only show where you compete for your life. Deadpool then challenges Spidey to appear on his next episode and reveals his fragment as the prize. Spidey confronts Deadpool, who gives him a fake prop and uses the real fragment to clone himself. Despite these odds, Spider-Man ultimately wins and takes the fragment. Meanwhile, Mysterio discovers his fragment granted him magic powers and seeks out the rest of the pieces. When the Spider-Men return to Madam Web with the fragments they collected, Mysterio attacks them, threatening to kill her if they do not deliver the remaining pieces. Spidey finds his final fragment in a construction yard, but before he can grab it, the massive Juggernaut appears out of nowhere. Spider-Man wonders how worse it could get and discovers that Silver Sable and her wild pack are attacking Juggernaut in order to capture him and collect a bounty. He also learns that the fragment ended up stuck in Juggernaut's foot. When he finds out that the tablet's on his shoes, Juggernaut becomes stronger, but is easily defeated because the fragment tangles with the mystic ruby that originally gave him his powers. Elsewhere, Noir Spidey goes to an abandoned carnival where Osborn is hiding in. After an argument with his henchmen, Osborn uses the fragment to turn himself into a monster similar to his ultimate counterpart. He then flees to a circus tent, but Spidey gives chase and manages to defeat him and take the fragment. Spider-Man 2099 finds a secret room where a woman is analyzing the final fragment, only to be caught by her. The woman then reveals herself as the Dr. Octopus of 2099. After she uses the fragment to power her machines, Spidey defeats her and retrieves the fragment. Meanwhile, Ultimate Spidey goes to the Triskelion to get help from the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and take the final fragment that they had found, only to find the place in ruin and the bodies of several agents drained to husks. Horrified, Spidey learns it was the symbiote Carnage's doing. An angry Spider-Man pursues him and defeats Carnage by pinning him under rubble and taking the final fragment.
Found the final fragments of the fabled tablet of order and chaos.
After getting all the pieces, Spidey knocks Mysterio out with his fragments to prevent him from getting the rest of the tablet, only for it to reassemble itself, and as a result, Mysterio gains the powers of a god and plans to devour every dimension.
Beyond that of a god, the walls of reality crumble before me.
He shatters the borders between realities, seeking to create a new one under his rule. However, this allows Madam Web to summon the 4 Spider-Men to fight Mysterio together. Teaming up, the Spider-Men defeat Mysterio by using their sheer skills.
Gentlemen.
I really hate this fella.
Come on, he's a blast to kick in the face.
Pal, you got...
Shut!
Afterward, the Spider-Men bid each other farewell, with Ultimate Spidey and Spidey 2099 getting into brief banter. Spidey leaves to drop Mysterio off at prison, as Madam Web says he should be proud to know that his legacy is being upheld across time and space.
The one thing I know for sure,
Out of all of them,
I'm the best.
So, what'd I miss?
What the?
Nuff said, kids. Nuff said.
If you enjoyed this video, check out these other stories on the channel, and be sure to like and subscribe, and turn on notifications for new content every week. Thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you in another Game Lore.